Did we play that?
Talked about it probably a month ago, but that was the first time we've executed it with zero communication at all.
I almost brought a bottle over here, so I'm so glad that
Oh yeah, it's gotta be a can.
yeah. Oh man. Dude, I got a good joke for you.
All right, let's hear it.
What's the difference between a priest and Woody from Toy Story?
Oh no. What?
When a child walks in the room, Woody goes limp.
And that's an episode, ladies and gentlemen.
How do you know you had a gay barbecue?
How, Steven?
Hot dogs taste like shit.
So so stupid and so bad. Oh god.
Oh man. That's the only two I had.
All right, good. I'm glad. Gonna make me regret asking for jokes.
Yeah, the only jokes I'm gonna have are ones that your mom is not gonna like. Not gonna lie.
All right. Well, sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Miss T.
I'll come up with the jokes for next episode. They'll be very PC.
Oh man.
So I guess something we might want to talk about. I've been getting the old entrepreneur itch and been looking at businesses online.
Oh yeah?
Found a car wash in Anaheim to buy.
Oh nice, dude.
And this is all like I won't show you any names or anything like that. I've probably already given you too much, but it's only for like $500,000.
What? Really?
But it nets like the EBITDA is like $50K
Okay.
because the rent is like $9,000 a month.
Oh, I see. It's not usually car washes include real estate.
Right. So that was my first email to him after he sent me the financials. Like, hey, who owns the building? Is that for sale? Because like an additional $9,000 on top of that would be, pretty killer.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? Owning a car wash?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best passive things you can do. That and laundromats are like slam dunks.
There's a lot of laundromats for sale down here, but like
Really?
I'm just kind of trying to think like it can't be that profitable because of how expensive real estate is down here, and there's no way like the type of people who need a laundromat, like there's got to be certain risks that come with that part of society.
Yeah.
So do you need to have like pay a security guard to be on there at all times?
Yeah, I suppose in California it's totally different than a lot of other places. Just because of how much vagrancy and vandalism are encouraged there by leadership.
I will correct you right there. They're not encouraged. They're not penalized.
What's the difference?
The big difference between I can tell you, hey, I'm going to encourage you to go do your job by giving you money, but if you don't do your job, I'm going to do nothing. So I'm not penalizing you for something versus encouraging you to do it.
But isn't like giving unemployment without proof of being terminated or per se giving people safe, clean needles? That's not.
I would call that enabling more than
Yes.
encouraging.
Okay. So enabling that behavior, that destructive behavior. So maybe a laundromat could be a little, especially in like a worse neighborhood. But I mean, I remember when I lived there, and
you're not going to like an uppity neighborhood that needs a laundromat,
Yeah, I remember it was tough to find places that had laundry in unit when I lived there, and there were plenty of nice laundromats even in PB.
Really? So like everywhere that like, especially around here, like if you don't have laundry in unit, there is like a a couple rooms downstairs where there's 5 or 6 laundry machines. That's
Like
how all those
quarters.
apartment complexes work.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, look out, man! You
What?
got a buddy hanging out with you. Did you see him?
Oh yeah. What is that? It's not even a fly.
Horsefly.
It's one of them bugs you can barely see.
Is it? It looks giant from this perspective. It came right by the
Well,
camera like 3 times.
you know when yeah, it's big, but it's like the way that they move, just like evolution made them hard to see. I don't know. Yeah, that was a regular looking.
Classic.
I just killed it, dude. It was a regular fly.
With one of these, with a flick.
I swiped, I bitch slapped it, and it
Do you
connected.
remember doing that in Indiana?
What?
You bitch slapped some fly and it went like you got it at an upward angle and it's like the farthest a fly could fly without flying. And like
This is ringing a bell. Where was this?
I think it was at my dad's house.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it was. That's right. I forgot about that. I remember we were just laying on the carpet watching a movie late at night or something, and I just backhanded it, and it just went, "Nee," and you could hear it like hit the carpet, bounce up, and then land back on the carpet. I
yeah,
do remember that. Holy cow, dude! We were like 12.
yeah.
Oh man, dude.
Look at the angle in which you hit because most people when you hit them you like hit them downward or it goes straight and then falls, but you hit it like as if you're trying to make it go as far as you could possibly make it go.
Yeah, dude. I love smacking flies. Every once in a while, you'll connect, and it just feels so good to just see it fall and just be dead.
All right, we got way off track. Laundromats, California.
Oh yeah, we were talking about laundromats.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean you follow Cody Sanchez, right, on Instagram.
no, I don't.
The she's
She bugs me. She's smart, but she bugs me.
yeah, I get it. She kind of goes off topic a lot, but that's like I guess what monetizes on Instagram really well. So and widens reach and the algorithm and stuff. But it's like they encourage Instagram encourages lifestyle content. Whereas you'd think, hey, if you just stick to this content, there's enough people out there to keep it busy, right? But anyway, she talks about businesses and stuff a lot, and her podcast might be a better resource of information. But
Yeah, she's all
yeah,
about the boring businesses, and I
uh
remember
huh,
her talking like laundromats and public storage and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think everything's different in California. One because of the price of real estate, and I think it's just everything's more expensive down here, and there's such a divide between like those who have it and those who don't. And so, like, if you go to Newport, I I doubt that there is a laundromat in all of Newport. There might be one like near Irvine, but then if you go to Santa Ana, there's probably one like every 3 blocks. But in Santa Ana, for those who don't know, I live in Santa Ana. I can get to Newport in 10 minutes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it really depends. It really depends in California, right? It's not like the rest of the country, but um, somebody just texted my buddy's buddy, that I met through the bachelor party and like at the wedding. He just texted me yesterday and was asking me about, where to start when he's trying to buy a business, but he doesn't know exactly what he wants. And it's like, that's such a fun position to be in because you can go a million different ways. You can, you know, you can put in 30 grand in with like four other guys and invest in a company, and one of those guys or maybe another guy who didn't put as much money in is the operator and actually runs the business. So you can be passive. You can bring all the money to a deal and somebody else is the operator and you are the passive angel, basically a silent investor. Or you can be the one and only. You bring the money and you bring, like, you're the operator. Um, you can buy a business for super cheap and like do everything from the ground up. It's not a startup per se, but you could really change everything and make it, improve it over time. You
Yeah, no,
can,
there's businesses for sales for like 100 grand, and you can get 90% SBA loans,
yeah,
and some 100% SBA loans. And so like there was one that was like it was like a blow up party delivery
yep,
thing. So if you want like bounce houses or slides or water things like that, and like they were selling it for like I don't know, like 70 or 80 grand or something. It's just basically all in one truck. So you buy the truck and all the stuff in it, and then there you go. You got a business.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's asset sale and purchases, right? So it's like that business, you'd be buying you'd be buying it like an purchase and sale, which means that there's a lot of like hardware or like tools or a truck. But then they also have in the like part of that price is okay, all that stuff you could go buy it all for 25 grand, but they're selling it for 70 because
Yeah.
that extra 45 is goodwill is what it's called.
Well,
So,
it's also, they have current clients and like some
yep,
hopefully some brand recognition and like
yep,
some kind of recurring revenue. I think that's the most difficult thing to do is to get your first client. And so I don't think I'm ever planning on starting from scratch on a business. I'm always going to buy a business if I ever start or do something like that, just because of that. The most difficult client to get your first one.
yep.
If you have somebody who's already done that,
Yeah, it's got a website. It's got brand recognition. Absolutely. Cody Sanchez talks about that a lot. So that's all the goodwill portion, right? And
yeah,
something that she really likes is boring companies like an HVAC company where the owner has been working at it for 30 years and he's got a director in place who could easily be promoted to CEO, right? And they don't have a website, right? They don't have um, like a Google Drive. It's all paper. Their books are shoddy because it's all paper. And she likes businesses like that because you can come in and have your CPA just work with the new CEO to get everything digitized. And then you hire a marketing company to revise the logo, update the logo, and create a website for 10 grand. And boom, now you've just potentially doubled revenue simply by improving um, processes and branding.
right, yeah, that sounds great. I would love to buy
Yeah,
a
man.
company wallpaper.
There are companies out there that all they do is buy companies. It's crazy. We've been approached at the daycare, just cold called multiple times. Oh yeah, there are companies that are based out of New York City, and all they do is buy daycares, and they don't even visit. Right? Like they don't even visit. They
They just know how much a well-run daycare could make, and they say, okay, based on this area, this population density, this is how much you should be making,
market studies.
and then they know that this is the price they pay for it.
Yeah, it's like wholesaling real estate. You don't even need to go to it. You can pay somebody local to go take photos, and then you can get it in contract and get close. FaceTime with the seller um, and just make a low offer that that, well, even if the books aren't perfect, it can't be worse than this. I'll offer you half of or 2/3 what it's worth.
Right.
They own it for 2 or 3, 5 years and sell it again. Private equity firms that usually out of New York area codes that cold call us.
Then you pick
But
up.
yeah. I mean, we always answer the phone. You never know who it's going to be. Sell a lot of cell phones that people moved here, so we answer everything. But yeah, there are
Do you,
companies like AJ
no,
Osborne. That's how he buys storage units. You
do you
know,
think there's any dollar amount that you would sell for?
no, no way.
$4 million.
Oh well, I mean, nobody would pay that much. I guess the question I was answering was, hey, what it's worth right now based on the books, would you sell it for that value? The answer
No,
is no.
no, no, because you see the upward potential.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, if somebody was stupid enough to come in and pay me what it would be worth in 2 years and was agreeable to not signing a non-compete, then yeah, maybe I would consider that so that I could take those funds and go build something similar to Strive and have a way better foot in the door, like a way better start, like just be able to, dude, all of our problems could be solved with money, to be honest. So doing that would honestly achieve the vision of raising the bar for what daycare can be, right? If we
Well,
could
that
open,
if you had $300,000 plopped in your lap right now, what would you change?
Um, what I would do with that is buy the building we're in, or be able to put a down payment on some land and a development loan to build a new center, um, and design it perfectly, exactly what makes sense for a daycare, and be able to fit it out with all the furniture and stuff we would need to buy. So, I mean, it's our conversion rate on parents coming in is so good that it's
Just
like
because
this
it
is
looks like.
we're the only daycare that's clean, and that is affordable. Number one, and then we're also the only daycare in possibly the state. I haven't been able to find one in the state yet, but definitely in our what we call the Treasure Valley, like the greater Boise area. We're the only one that doesn't serve processed food. We're the only one that serves food that doesn't serve processed food.
So there's some that just would rather not serve food.
There are some places that can say they don't serve processed food, but that's because they don't serve food.
I remember that was kind of like an issue for you guys earlier on that some of the parents were like, well, they won't eat anything if you don't give them fruit roll ups.
Yeah, yeah. We have had 2 to 3 families say stuff like that, and they either don't join, or we have had. There's been like one family in particular where we had to say, okay, no more, can't bring lunch in anymore because you're not bringing healthy food and it's disruptive and it's causing your kid to have outbursts in the afternoon. Um, and so if you keep sending the lunchbox, we're just not going to give it to her. And we just had to draw a line in the sand. And
Do they,
huh?
do they still come?
Yeah, and the kid's doing great. The kid's eating food, no problem.
That's wild.
It took 2 days for her to acclimate, or him
Yeah,
or her to acclimate.
yeah. That kind of reminds me of I'm not like full deep in the steak and eggs diet, but like the primary focus of most of my meals is either steak or eggs,
Good.
and it's what were we talking about? Oh, like the outbursts and stuff, and just how you feel different afterwards. And I was looking into a couple different sources about what's going on. It's mostly just the keto diet,
Yeah.
and you're not eating all the crap.
Yeah.
And so it's just a better way to focus on being keto because, if you're doing keto and only eating vegetables, it's pretty hard to do. But if you're eating something that you really like steak, very flavorful, very satiating, and eggs, also very flavorful, very satiating, it's a lot easier to do it that way.
Yeah. And dude, a lot of like when I was doing the carnivore diet, a lot of people at my office, I worked in a big office with hundreds of people, and so people see, and they're like, "Isn't that how do you afford that? It's so expensive." And it's like, I asked them, "Okay, what do you spend a day on food?" And when they do the
Yep.
math, they're like, okay, so like $35 a day on food because I'm buying a little bit of meat, a lot of veggies, pasta, milk, all these things. It adds up. If you divide it by the days, it's about $28 to $32 a day. Okay, well, I buy one ribeye for $16, and that's pretty much all I ate for the day. The eggs are negligible. It costs $1 a day in eggs, and then one $16 ribeye, a giant ribeye. So I'm eating for 17. I'm paying half of what you're paying for food. I
Right.
don't eat
Yeah.
out, so I pay.
I bought some more steaks yesterday at Vons, and I was like, wait, this is $30 for 3 steaks? And it's like, I mean, yeah, I get that's kind of expensive, but like all I need is a steak and 2 eggs for a meal.
Yeah.
It seemed cheaper.
And you only need 2 meals a day when you're on the
Mm-hmm.
carnivore diet. You need breakfast
I
around.
was always doing two meals a day. So
Yeah. So how's it going with that? Are you losing weight? Are you getting more muscle? How long has it
I
been? Tell me.
haven't done any kind of tracking. I'm just
Mm,
doing it right now, and like I said, I'm doing it pretty light. Like my meals are focused around those things, but I'm not like not eating anything else.
hmm.
Like I'm still having snacks, and sometimes the snacks are carbs, and sometimes I'm having yogurts or something. And then last night we went out to dinner to some pizza place, and I had pizza and French fries and a beer. Um, but I think when I'm talking to like friends and family about it, I think they're very concerned about one, my cholesterol, ha.
Yeah,
Two,
90s.
yeah, Two is like the lack of vitamins that you're supposed to get from other types of foods. And so the one I watched today was like they were very concerned about low vitamin C. And so I think I'm going to start supplementing with like vitamin C every couple of days or something. But so it was that, and there was one other one. Oh, like I guess there's other amino acids that are in other types of foods you're not going to get in these ones. Gosh, Noah's going nuts right now. Sorry.
You're
She's
good.
just like,
She's ready to play.
oh yeah, she's doing this all day, literally since the moment we woke up today, doing stuff like this.
So isn't vitamin C like a total scam though? Do we actually need vitamin C? Because can't you get the benefits you need from vitamin C from vitamin D from the sun?
I have not heard that, but I know vitamin D is the most common deficiency in America right now,
Yeah.
and the best way to get vitamin D is to just get outside, so
Yeah.
kids aren't going outside. But
Yeah, there's
I remember
something.
in college about vitamin C, like the whole class, like the big project was vitamin C and what it is and what it does. And the guy who like discovered its benefits on the body like did not think that there was an upper limit on vitamin C. Like you could take 10,000% of your daily recommended dose and it would still benefit you. And so I'll do that sometimes. Like if I feel like a cold coming on, I'll just down like 4 of those vitamin C pills, take a emergency, and I'll go get one of those shakes. It's like a vitamin C boost, and I'll get like 4 or 5,000% my vitamin C boost, and like I'll feel fine, and it'll help me the next day. And the guy who discovered it, I think, pretty sure he said he thought it could cure cancer.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. It's been like 5 years now since I read this book, but um, and I know he's a kook, but Sean Baker is a former orthopedic surgeon. I mean, he still is, but he's had his license threatened a lot, and he was suspended for talking about carnivore diet and stuff. But um, I'm sorry, he might not have been orthopedic. He might have been cardio. But anyway, he wrote a book all about the carnivore diet. He's been carnivore for 30 years, hasn't eaten a thing except ribeye in 30 years. And he's like 64, and he looks like he's 45, and like
He
his
doesn't like
body.
supplement with vitamins or anything else. Just eats
No,
ribeye.
right. And he talks through a lot of the nutrition science about it, um, and there's all kinds of chemistry that goes into it when you eat vegetables and supplements, and like you've probably heard of the common one that oxalates, which are common in things like spinach. Oxalates will negate your body's ability to absorb iron. So if you,
Spinach had a bunch of iron in it.
it does, which, but it's kind of like it makes your small intestines, I want to say, not be able to absorb it. So the oxalates prevent your body from absorbing these things. So when you mix all these foods, you're not even really getting all of those things. And they can even, those oxalates can prevent you from getting the nutrition from meat if you're mixing the two. So if you just eat meat and that's it, especially red meat with high in fat, like a ribeye, your body is actually able to, oh, okay, I've got a huge steak in here. I can digest this. And there's no other chemistry that's like preventing my body from getting the
Instead of
iron.
doing 100 processes, it's doing 2 processes.
Right. And then your body will be able to create a lot of those vitamins that you're talking about that come in veggies. Your body can make it itself from the meat.
I forget if I talked to you about this, but I have this theory that our body is not supposed to digest 15 different ingredients at a time.
Oh, yeah.
So even eating something like, you know, a pasta with chicken and red sauce. In that red
Uh-huh.
sauce, there's like 12 different ingredients. The chicken's one ingredient, but you put 4 different spices on it, and then you have butter, and then the
Yep.
pasta itself is what 4 or 5 ingredients. And so I was like, okay, how does our body know how to digest all 20 of those things at the same time? If you just simplify, like eat less types of foods at once, wouldn't it be easier for your body to process it?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but apparently it's come to this. But like, if you think about common sense, 10,000 years ago, did we have access did humans have access to more than one food at a time? No. You found some berries and you ate them. You digest them in 20 minutes. So it takes 20 minutes to walk over to the next field where you can find a different kind of berry, right? Or you kill a bison, right? You're a Native American, you kill a
Yeah, for
bison.
the next month. Like,
Yeah, your tribe will eat that bison in like 3 days, and all you guys, the only thing you eat for like 3 days straight is that bison meat. You're not like they weren't like cooking it with spinach and corn. Yes, they had maize, but they were able to save that maize and stockpile a little bit for when they hadn't killed something in a while, and they would just eat the corn or the maize for like a day or two.
I think this is kind of like a, I don't know if I want to say a psychological or a moral thing, but like what are humans meant to be doing? Because like we've created this whole societal world of
Yeah.
all this different infrastructure and things that protect us with different medications and foods, GMOs that make our food bigger and better and last longer. But like, were humans really meant to do all this stuff? Like, were we supposed to create this, you know, conglomerate of people living in a small area, or were we supposed to be farmers, or were we supposed to be gatherers and hunters, or we're supposed to live in a cave and only come out once a day to find food and go back in? Like,
Well,
I
just
don't know.
like just like other animals, we've evolved and adapted to our environment, right? And
But we created our own environment.
yes, we did. We totally did. And I think if you gave it 10,000 years of having access to food that we have now, our bodies will over time, like through natural selection, be able to you know, better stomach it, right? But the way we've evolved was we were opportunistic hunters and gatherers, right? And it would have been rare back in those days, 10, 20,000 years ago, to have access to so much food. And it would have been like that for hundreds of thousands of years, enough time to actually evolve to be serving that purpose. Our bodies were evolved to serve that purpose, which was one thing at a time. So trust the science, right? But common sense is kind of empirical on this in my mind.
I was having this debate with my sister about how much should we believe science, and it's like it sounds very egotistical to say the kind of stuff that we're talking about right now. It's like, oh, scientists are they're stupid. I know better, but it's not that I know better. I just know that they're going to be proved wrong at one day.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I can't take what they're saying as fact. I can take it as that's the best we know now, but I also know that as a human race, we don't know shit. Like we have not explored 90% of our ocean.
Yeah.
We don't know where we came from. We don't know how this earth came to be. We don't know how humans became humans. Like the fact that we think we know what kind of stuff should and shouldn't go on our body is just crazy.
Yeah. It the arrogance is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Like,
it seems so arrogant. It's like I know better than the smartest scientists in the world. No, I don't know better than them. I just know that they're gonna be wrong one day. I
yeah.
can guarantee it.
Yeah. Elon Musk was talking about that in a podcast recently about trust the science is a funny term because the definition of science is revolves around the scientific method, which the scientific method is designed to test a hypothesis and try to prove it wrong. And and all this marketing in the last 5 years, trust the science. It's like, but we haven't tested the science. So what do you mean by trust the science? What you're saying is trust the scientists who are agreeing with the corporations. Who cares that they're getting paid by the corporations, right? That's not a conflict of interest.
My
Well,
broad view is about these scientists wrote a paper, but who paid for them to write this paper?
yeah. So when you say trust the science, really what you should be doing is to trust the science, you have to read the scientific method papers on a subject and be able to validate that the hypothesis they tested and proved is correct.
And I think that one step further from that is even if you read all that, it seems logical and you agree with it. there is still a pretty good chance that there's information that we have not discovered yet,
Uh-huh.
and you're going to be wrong in 10 years or 100 years or 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Like, the Earth used to be flat. Now it's not. Like,
Yeah.
if you went past the Indian Ocean, you're just going to fall off a cliff. Then Christopher Columbus said, let me try that out. you
Yeah.
know, that was fact before he went.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And who's to say what's the fact now that the next person's just going to completely disprove?
Yeah. Oh my God. Have you seen the government, the Senate hearings, or maybe it's Congress? I don't know. All these people are just confirming. I think you sent it to me actually. People are just confirming that. Yeah, we have UFOs.
Oh, dude, I've been watching it pretty heavily. I mean, I would like to actually read the papers, but they're like 200 pages each, and so it's just wild. But like, basically, what's going on is they have pretty much confirmed that aliens do exist, that aliens are here, and that they live in the ocean,
Yeah.
and that every continent on the planet has seen aliens come out of the ocean, every single one, and they've hidden it from us since like the 60s or something.
Yeah.
And so they're out there. There was one that was there was about it some guy who knew it wasn't in this same kind of like CIA unclassified document, but he said that the aliens he had like had close contact with them, and they referred to us as containers, and we
Mm-hmm.
were very valuable containers. And so they would say things like, "Don't hurt the containers. Make sure the containers are okay." And so they're trying to get enough of us to use us for whatever it is we need to be used for.
Yeah. That's a Tucker Carlson thing. He won't reveal the source, but he was saying somebody in the government told him that that's what the aliens are telling the government is that humans are containers, and it's like some dark stuff. Like basically that these aliens are aware of this, that they're not doing it, they're not farming us, but they know that our souls are to be harvested, and the aliens are harvesting them, but you know, he was saying it's something along those lines where they're not necessarily the ones planting the souls in us, but they are harvesting them, and they're meant to be doing that. So there's some kind of
Like
dark,
we're
insidious implication
the one
there.
track.
Yeah.
Somebody planned them there to come back and get us when we're ready.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. But yeah,
But that's on conspiracy, but
yeah,
aliens are real. CIA has them. They're trying to reverse engineer the stuff that they found. But I've heard that there are aliens like that they have captive and they communicate with.
yeah,
That's right now that's a fact, which is crazy to talk about.
yeah. We just watched this interesting show on HBO Max. What was it? It was all about aliens coming to Earth, and then obviously there was like a big 90% of the population was killed by the alien attack, uh, but then humans started working with the aliens. It was a really cool show. Oh man, I can't remember what it was called. Um, but you'll have to check that out because it does raise a lot of cool hypothetical, I don't know, spiritual questions about that.
Yeah, I did see one other one that said we were actually from Mars, and they had dropped us off. Like we escaped from Mars because there was no viability left there. It was just
Yep.
so long ago that we don't know what's going on. Nova's getting
Oh,
grounded.
falling skies, falling skies. That's what it's called.
What?
Bye, Nova. Bye, toenails.
Lord.
Just like 10 minutes of click, 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 click.
Oh, dude, you can hear a scratch in the door too. Here it is.
Yeah, it's all good. She'll be fine.
She
Damn, this
like
beer is. I'm either dehydrated or this thing's 8%. My God.
that happened to me yesterday. I had just like a regular beer yesterday, but since I've been on the steak diet, I feel like I don't have as much to absorb it in my stomach anymore, like as much carbs and stuff. So I got drunk after a beer yesterday.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. 6.5, but it is a 32 ounce. Got this at the gas station yesterday. I pump gas, and when it doesn't give you a receipt, because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, see you 10-day, we're out of paper, what the fuck ever. And so I walked in to get a receipt because I paid with a business card. I got to get the receipt. And next to the counter was just like half price beers. And just like a folding table set up with like a ton of tall boys for $1.50. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna pick up a few of these.
So let's hear what you got.
I just bought like 6 of these. The Deschutes hazy IPA, fresh haze from Deschutes.
Get
Or
the
sorry,
can. Dude,
$1.74.
sick.
Yeah,
Douche. Hop. Dish.
Deschutes. Yeah, douche shoots. I think is how you
Douche
pronounce
shit.
it.
It's the douche shits.
Douche shits. Oh man, Miss Teal like that one.
Hope so.
Oh man. Well, good. Well, I'm glad to hear carnivore's going good. Um, so what's the next step with the car wash?
Well, I'm like kind of weighing my options on if I want to do it or if I don't want to do it. Because I feel like, I mean, learning from your experience with Strive, it's like there's no chance that I'm going to buy this thing and just like be in there once a week or twice a week. Like I'm sure the first year I'm going to have to be in there every single day. And
Maybe.
right now, with the net only being like 50 grand, is that really what I want to spend my time on? And how much could I really? What's the top end potential? And I don't think that like I might if like I could spend a year on it and then make it to the point where I don't have to be there every day, and it makes me 50 to 75 grand. But then I like need to go do that 3 or 4 more times to make this like venture worth my while. And is that really what I want to do? Do I
Yeah.
want to be the guy who owns like 5 businesses? Maybe or maybe they're not all car washes.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, and Cody Sanchez talks about that a lot. That it's like the hardest part is getting to that fifth business, because once you get the fifth one and you get it kind of running efficiently, what she did was, okay, finally I can afford to hire a CIO. She calls it a CIO. It's Chief Investment Officer. So she has an umbrella company that employs one employee, a CIO, and his job is to meet with all the operators at the businesses and manage everything. And of course that person is going to be an expensive person, so I'll bet you that guy makes 250 a year. So
Yeah, you got 5 car washes. I'm barely going to be able to pay that person.
right, but yeah, so she had bought a few laundromats, a few car washes, a few storage units, but then also the fifth one was an HVAC business um that was netting 10 million a year, right? Or not netting, sorry, revenue 10 million a year. So
Yeah.
making $1 million of profit. So she could hire that guy to then run all 5 of them. But it's not like he was actually in there running them. He's more like, I would compare it to a real estate deal where you have your property manager and your asset manager. So she had a property manager or a CEO of each company that would like run the day-to-day operations, but then the
I would call it
CIO,
more business manager than asset manager.
yeah. What how on a real estate deal the property manager manages the property, and they give all the financial documents to you and at the owner, and you have to read them, and I don't know, just make sure everything makes sense.
And you're not missing any bills and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the asset manager is the one who's going through and being like, are we taking care of all the maintenance? But is it reasonable pricing? And are we collecting rent correctly and getting it all and that
Which
kind
can
of thing?
also do like a lot of the business stuff, like how can we maximize profits, or what should our latest marketing strategy be?
Yeah, yeah. Like the CEO would make the presentation to the CIO of like each company's CEO would report to the umbrella company's CIO, and he would approve it or she would approve it, and then would report to Cody, hey, I'm taking care of all this stuff.
Huh.
But you got to have 4 or 5 businesses before you can have that person who is spending time all day on each company, right?
I mean, I guess I would rather just be the CIO
It's
because
just a full-time job.
I don't need I don't need 20 companies.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, like that's cool and that works and that's great. But my personal choice is I've found a business that I think we could grow exponentially nationwide. So I don't necessarily want or need to own another company or a third company right now. I think that if I just focused on Strive, if me and Elena just both focus on Strive, we can grow them, grow it to be multiple locations, millions of dollars, but while being affordable and adding the quality, uh, product to the community. And so to me, it's like I'd rather grow all this and have multiple locations because that is kind of like having multiple businesses, but just keep growing this to a point where I can work less and less on it and be more working on the future and changing public policy. My goal is to get this business so big that it runs itself, and then I'm more focused on getting rid of roadblocks at the government level, at the
Yeah.
municipality level, to pave the road for Strive to keep growing. You know what I mean? I
You
think
want to be
that's how
like
people get into
the next
politics.
Kinder Care. Yeah. You want to be like the next Kinder Care. You guys have those up there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or Goddard School, the ones that are nationwide chains, and they're like they have checklists for everything, right? They've got processes and um like
Yeah.
SOPs for everything. Yeah, that's what we want to be like. But their deal is they're corporate and they're big box and they're processed foods and they're about efficiency more than actually staying ahead of the curve on the changing culture.
Right. I mean, so if you're going to get big corporate like that, you have to have the SOPs and checklists like that, but you just want to have it be a different direction rather than cost minimization. You want to be like health promotion and stuff like that.
Yep, yep. Having a curriculum that includes things like financial literacy, wellness, Montessori like practical life skills, those kinds of things, in addition to the foundational stuff that those schools teach, and then topping it off with eliminating the ADHD causing crap in the diet. So to me,
So
it's like a win-win-win. If you don't feed kids crap, they don't have outbursts. If they don't have outbursts, teachers don't get burnout. If they don't get burnout, they don't quit. We haven't had a teacher quit in over a year and a half now.
nice.
Every school in the area is like they just can't keep up with the turnover, and turnover is like almost every parent that comes in for a tour asks us, how do you handle turnover? Do you communicate every time a teacher quits? And I say, yes, we communicate every time a teacher quits. There have been 0 communications in a year and a half because we haven't had anybody quit. So, I think that having benefits for teachers and the food is like a no brainer, win, win, win. The kids are happier, teachers are happier, no cancer. So I can sleep at night. I'm not poisoning kids like everyone else is poisoning kids. They literally are poisoning kids. Every daycare is poisoning kids. It's harsh. It's a harsh truth. But yeah, okay, I'll get off my soapbox. I'm definitely
So Nicole
definitely
called me out
chips.
for this yesterday. Your goal is to have one job and only one job. How many jobs could you say that you have right now?
Jobs. Well, how do you define job?
Something that either earns you money or something you do on a regular basis that earns you money.
And then one, because my other initiatives don't make any money.
Oh,
We run the Airbnb, right? Me and Elena both do that. That just pays the mortgage. It's not like, and it's not super regular. It's like a couple times a week we got to talk about it or do something. Um, Vera Development, which is Very slow right now because development's just not taking off. But we got a couple clients, um, but that's very little. So I would say Strive is 99% of my time, 95 maybe more accurately, and then Vera is the other four, and Airbnb is one, so three. But to me, a job is something you spend a significant amount of time on too. Like Vera would be significant, I guess. So too. What about
But
you?
you also have open businesses that you are an owner of, which you would consider those jobs.
We no, we've closed most of the other ones. Like actually doing the dissolution or dissolving them. So it's just Strive and Vera.
And is the Airbnb the only investment property you own right now?
No,
Okay.
Vera owns one of them, uh,
Okay.
and then the Airbnb is actually not an investment property. It's our primary residence.
Yeah, it's ADU. Yeah.
Hmm.
Isn't it bigger than your primary living spaces though?
No, no, no. It's about half the size of our
Okay.
living space.
Gotcha. When Nicole called me out for this, it was like, okay, I got my mortgage business. I helped my dad with financial advising. I'm now selling Legal Shield. I'm a
Hmm.
landlord for our tenant out here.
Hmm.
I have my mortgage calculators business. And it's like, she's like, how do you get 5 jobs and you're still broke?
Yeah,
Like, fuck.
yeah. If you're busy, dude. Like you're working all the time, and buying a car wash sounds sexy, but you might not have time for it. I mean,
Oh, I for
Brandon,
sure have to cut ties with multiple things.
yeah, Brandon Turner talks about that. He talks about building bridges, and he says if you try to build too many bridges at one time, none of them will get finished, and you'll end up in the water. But just build one bridge, complete it, and then go to the next. So what he's talking about is stabilize it, get an operator in place who's managing it for you, and you only need to think about it an hour or two a week, and then go
Yeah,
to the next thing.
that would be the goal.
Yeah. Yeah, we were doing way too much when we quit our jobs, man. We were trying to do flips, we were trying to wholesale, we were trying to travel in an RV, we were trying to rent RVs, we were trying to renovate our home to build this ADU. We were trying to it was just like too much different things. We're trying to develop State Street. It
Yeah.
was too many bridges.
Are you
None of
still
them.
involved in State Street?
Yeah, yeah, we own the property. We still have our partnership agreement with the neighbors. It's just there's just no real path forward.
So
Um,
you've got plans, there's no path.
we have no lending. So the path forward is get a loan, but there are no loans available right now that make sense. So the best thing to do is just hold on. And luckily, the property that we own isn't just land; it has houses on it that we're renting out. So we're just sort of breaking even.
But the goal is that eventually one day you can get lending on it.
Yeah,
I remember the issue was you either needed a huge influx of cash or like I guess wasn't it something like they wanted a non-recourse loan and
yep,
nobody would do that. Yeah.
yeah. Non-recourse loans were like prevalent when we were almost done with the approvals, and then about 3 weeks before we had the approvals and could have refinanced into a non-recourse loan, the interest rates just shot up,
Yeah.
and it just boned us. So we're kind of stuck.
Bone.
Yeah, but I still have meetings on that project. It's been 3 years. I still have meetings on that project once a month.
Wow. All right. Well, solid pod today. Good talking to you, bud.
Sod pod, sod pod.
Solid pod. All right. Love you, mom.
Love you, Ms. T. Hey, Ms. T, let us know if there's any car washes in Eville.
There is a storage unit out there for sale. It's technically in Kentucky. Almost
Ooh,
went after it.
let's talk about that
Next
offline.
next sod pod.
Next sod pod.